I didn't really get the results that I wanted. Hi everyone, I'm Chloe from Hwa Chong, and today I'll be sharing with you about my experience as a DSA sports student in canoeing. So the first part would be why I decided to DSA to Hwa Chong for canoeing. So in secondary school, I did canoeing as a CCA, and I felt that I didn't really get the results that I wanted for National School Games 2019. So I thought that the DSA was a great opportunity for myself to improve and get better in the sport, as well as get better results in a different school. So why did I decide to go to Hwa Chong? I think Hwa Chong really has a very wholesome and hardworking team culture. And if you want to grow, you should go to an environment that will help you and surround yourself with people that will help you. And second, the trainings were tough but very effective. And finally, we had a very supportive and dedicated coach. He's also our teacher in charge. So this is a brief summary of the things that I submitted. So for the 500-word personal essay, I talked about what traits I had that made me stand out, that I think will make me stand out from my peers. So how I tackled this was I used some of the things I did in my portfolio, which was my experience as a student counselor and canoeing, and how this has shaped my character and helped me to grow certain personal qualities that I think are very outstanding compared to my peers. Then on the online portal, there's also an option for you to send or nominate some teachers for reference letters. This is not exactly compulsory, but I got a physical reference letter from my teacher in charge in secondary school. And I also attached photocopied versions of my Sec 3 final term and Sec 4 mid-year results. I think exam results are not a determining factor for DSA applicants, but it's also quite important because schools like Hwa Chong are well known for having good academics, and the lesson pace in Hwa Chong is definitely much faster compared to other JCs. So the school would have a good look at your secondary school results to see whether you can cope with the academic rigor. So I wouldn't say academic results are a determining factor, but it plays quite a large role in choosing DSA students. And finally, I sent in photocopied versions of all my certificates that I achieved in secondary school, like my EduSave scholarship, some academic competitions that I went to, etc. And I think apart from the 500-word personal statement, all these photocopied versions and reference forms were sent in along with a printed hard copy form that can be obtained on the website. You have to put it all in a physical letter. Then you have to mail it to the school or you personally deliver it to the general office. So like this is a general timeline of how it happened. So at first we signed up at the online ISP portal, and I don't think this is open for this month. And the time when I was applying for this, it was also pre-COVID. You could still go to open trainings in school, but I don't know whether that is possible now. And we also went through like a physical trial, which in this case was a canoeing time trial. And finally, we did an interview individually and then as a group. So the people in the group were students that wanted to DSA to Hwa Chong through canoeing. Then these are some of the interview questions that I could remember. I can't really remember all, and I don't really know whether they are from the individual or the group segment, but these are some of the questions. I think they are very very simple, very basic questions that you can expect in a DSA interview. Then thirdly, I'll be talking about some challenges I faced in this experience and how I overcame it. One of the challenges I had was interview anxiety. So I tend to clam up and not talk when I'm very nervous. So how I overcame it in the interview was falling back on some prepared answers. And I think it's very important to think through what you want to say before you go to the interview and not think of it on the spot. Because to many of us, DSA is quite an important way, quite an important step for us to get into the school of our dreams. So I think if you don't really want to if you really want to make the most use out of this opportunity, you should be as prepared as possible and not let small things like interview nerves get the better of you. And the next point would be balancing academics and CCA. So as a DSA student, you are naturally held to higher standards in training. You're expected to do better, you're expected to lead the team. And at the same time, you also need to make sure that you do well for your academics, because for my CCA at least, if you don't do too well for certain exams, certain key exams like block tests or promos, they can ban you for some holiday training. So if you don't want to let your academics be a hindrance to your CCA or let your CCA be a hindrance to your academics, you really need to know how to balance this well. So one way that how I overcame this challenge was learning how to prioritize important things in my life, which mainly are CCA, studies, and relationships like my friendships and my family. So I had to eliminate some distractions, of course. Like I had to stop watching too much YouTube. I have to cut down on the time I spend going out with my friends. And because canoeing training is very frequent and very tough, I also need to put aside more time to study as compared to my friends from other CCAs, so that I'll still be able to keep up in class. Finally, I have some tips for those that wish to DSA. I think that it is important that you are very sure that you enjoy the sport, because DSA is a very long-term commitment in JC. And once you enter the school through this sport, there's no turning back. So you really need to give your 110%. You shouldn't do things half-heartedly. You should just do it with the best of your ability. And I think if the situation permits, you should try to go for as many open trainings as possible to show your sincerity in wanting to join the school. I think another tip is to be yourself during the interview. Don't try to be someone you're not just to impress the interviewers, because I'm pretty sure they can tell whether you are being sincere and genuine or not, because they have interviewed a lot of students. So just be natural, just be yourself. And I think that it's also very important for you to show your passion and interest very strongly throughout the entire process, especially in the interview. Because since you've already sent in all your information, like presented in your portfolio, like showing your passion and your interest in joining the school would really help you stand out from the rest of the interviewees. Thank you. If you have any questions, you can email me at my email account here. Bye.